Johnny may return to the old guard because of injury. Eddie Jones' New England project is hastily being redrawn after more injury disruption hit his squad on the eve of the Six Nations and saw him turn back to the old guard. Johnny May, the Gloucester wing, became the latest senior player to withdraw having suffered a knee injury. He follows Owen Farrell out of the squad after the England captain saw a specialist on Monday to discover the extent of a fresh ankle injury he suffered in Saracens training last week. There are fears Farrell might not be seen until at least the Ireland game in the fourth round of fixtures on March 12. It is expected May will now miss at least the opening two championship games against Scotland on February 5 and Italy the Sunday after, although there is cautious optimism he can play some part in the Six Nations. It is understood May suffered the blow in-game, but has aggravated it in club training. He underwent scans on Monday to determine the extent of the problem. Further bad news for England came in the form of Courtney Lawes, the favourite to succeed Farrell as captain, being unable to train this week at the Brighton training camp as he is undergoing the head injury return to play protocol. Jones has chosen not to name a skipper as of yet, but flanker Tom Curry will step in for media duties at the Six Nations launch event on Wednesday as one of the vice-captains. With Farrell and May out, Jones called up two experienced men in George Ford, as predicted by, and Elliot Daly, with fellow Saracen Nick Isiekwe in his cover for Lawes at blindside flanker/Law. Ford and Daly have played a combined 112 tests in Jones' England era and now must help repair England's back line, which is increasingly looking like a patchwork quilt of untried partnership. Ford, still only 28, thoroughly deserves his reprieve after fine form for Leicester Tigers, guiding them to the top of the Gallagher Premiership table. But his role in the squad is now unclear. Jones dropped him for the autumn and, initially, this Six Nations squad, citing analysis of data from his games at Tigers as part of the reason. Jones has moved away from a kick-first game plan with England even though it is helping Ford and Steve Borthwick's Leicester side fly high. When picking the squad last week Jones made it clear he saw Marcus Smith as his fly half, and wanted Farrell at inside center to help guide the 22-year-old. Now Jones has no captain, no 10-12 partnership and no Manu Tuilagi either, as the Sale Sharks centre waits to return from the hamstring tear he suffered in the autumn win against South Africa. Ford is now tasked with fighting against Smith for the number 10 shirt having lost it to the Harlequin, while also helping him grow as a young, talented, but raw fly half, psychologically a tough sell for Ford. While he and Smith cannot play together, as two out-and-out fly halves, and with Ford out of the senior leadership group after Jones' recent revamp, it would be a surprise if the Leicester man starts at midfield. Equally Daly, injured for the autumn and, as Jones himself said last week, short of match fitness recently, is in a curious position too. Tarred with the same brush as the Saracens core, largely discarded in favor of fresh leaders and labeled last year as negative influences in light of the salary cap saga by Jones, he, like Ford, could either be highly motivated to regain his spot, or disenfranchised. Both Daly and Ford will be primed by Jones to come in with new talents, and it is believed one of those for Daly is to improve his tactical kicking. While Jones should be credited for picking top-line, in-form, experienced players ready to win the Six Nations now, those call-ups have been made out of necessity rather than design. England's pack should largely remain intact, and for now there is no suggestion Lawes' head injury is a huge worry, but the back line shake-up will be fascinating. Jones is now shorn of Farrell, his captain and most trusted ally, Tuilagi, England's most devastating ball carrier, as well as May and Anthony Watson, the latter who will not play at all this tournament, his top try scorers. Ben Youngs and Henry Slade, therefore, could be the only established names in the backs up in Scotland, with Smith, Joe Marchant, Luke Northmore, Mark Atkinson, Max Malins, Freddie Stewart, Orlando Bailey, Tommy Freeman, George Furbank, Rafi Quirk and Harry Randall all fresh on the scene and picked with Jones' eye on the future. Jack Nowell could become an important figure to steady the English ship, if he can successfully make the step back up to test level having not played an international for 2.5 years. A hurried rethink of game plans and styles now faces Jones in light of these injury troubles, and he is now faced with an almighty conundrum. Does he sew up his threadbare back line with a stitch in time to save 9? Do Ford and Daly come straight in order to shore up a squad who cannot contemplate losing the opener to Scotland? Or does he double down on his New England, flying close to the sun and forging his test infants in the fiercest of fires with the 2023 World Cup in mind? Whatever his choice, If Jones is to successfully pilot England through this turbulence, he will have earned his stripe. The captaincy contenders Courtney Lawes, age 32, caps 88, not one for fire and brimstone speeches, but the lock-come flanker was effective leader in the autumn. Favourite to replace Owen Farrell unless ruled out by head injury. Maro Itoje, age 27, caps 49, for so long the anointed successor to Farrell. Itoje is a certain pick and entering his prime years. The only question is the one raised by Eddie Jones in his book last year. Is he an effective enough communicator? Tom Curry, age 23, caps 34, world class on his day. The open side flanker has captaincy experience with his club side Sale Shark. Like longtime Australia captain Michael Hooper, Curry is always central to the action. Ellis Genge, age 26, caps 31, led Leicester Tigers superbly for most of this season and part of England's leadership group in the autumn, but against big scrummaging sides could be benched in favour of Joe Marler.